begin to look at your learners as your customers. You know, somebody was saying teaching is the only profession where you gain your customers. Sasa, wewe unapiga custom. Have you ever been beaten when you go to a supermarket? Have you ever go back? Colleagues, as we focus on this project on how to improve instructional practice, you are also aware that we are now in the competence-based curriculum, and the first cohort is now in grade 9, and they will now be arriving in your schools next year as grade 10, when the schools will now be referred to as senior school. So it requires we also begin re-engineering ourselves to begin to shift our mindsets. So we are moving away from this very high stakes competition in learning to begin to focus on how do we nurture every learner's potential, so that each and every learner can become successful. And that's why we want to produce an engaged, an empowered, and ethical citizen. And the mission is that spirit of nurturing every learner's potential. So it is in this era where you are going to live, because it is a transition period. It means you must begin that mindset re-engineering to know that change is the only permanent thing we have in this life, and it must come. When it comes, you must be ready to move with others. I don't know among us how many have written a book up to where we are for grade 10. Are you aware people are writing books? Now, are you aware that there is a curriculum for grade 10? How many of us have looked at the grade 10 curriculum for mathematics? The other question may not sound good. So in which world do you live? Because when I'm talking like this, there was a notice that people will be bringing their textbooks for evaluation, and they will be evaluated in April. Meaning from last year when we uploaded the curriculum for grade 10, your age mates downloaded it and started writing books. So if you are left behind, it will come October, November of this year, and you see textbooks arriving in your school. And you'll be wondering, where have these textbooks come from? So let's move with the time, orient yourself with that curriculum, get to understand how different is it from the current curriculum that you are using, the syllabus. And then be at the forefront to change yourself so that you can be among the first people to benefit from this change. Once you get to this, then you will know that you can actually, the instructional material that Dr. is talking about, you can even be able to write it now in line with the competence-based curriculum. And it will be evaluated, and it will get into the market at the right time. That's a very serious opportunity that is there. And if you start by writing your grade 10 material, then you can write 11 and 12 very easily. So the earlier we run, the better, so that we can be able to be at the forefront in this. So as I finish, I want to say I'm happy to be associated with this project because it is very similar to a project I'm running for the East African community, and it is called Integration of Statistics in Primary School Mathematics, where we developed a statistical curriculum that can be integrated in primary schools across all the partner states in East Africa. And we developed materials, and we have already adapted them for learners with special needs, and now we are at the level of training master trainers in the different countries. Otherwise, I wish you all the best. Put your best foot forward. And remember, like the late Geoffrey Griffin said, the world is full of people who do their work half-heartedly, grudgingly, and poorly. Do not be like them. Whatever is your work, always do it to the best of your ability. When you have completed, leave some time to serve the less fortunate members of the society. Not for any benefit, but because it is the right thing to do. End of quote. Thank you.
I've run short of words. Short of words, but I don't know, because you've been forthright and the point, and you've told us we either take it or leave it. So we will cry, go to strike, you add more money, the government not add you more money, it will increase the taxes, if you are not writing, you will make an extra coin. And you have been given the challenge. Mipip is here for you, and I've told you. Maybe I will tell you, at the end of this, one of the output is those materials. And we are saying, tutakupea kuandika topic for your shule. I think I said it, you will expound. So we will get that, and then synthesize, do corrections, look at it. Then when we come with this material, tutampelekea, it will be reviewed. Be part of the process. That quote was so powerful. And because of that, thank you so much. We are ready and we are preparing you. Mipip is nothing other than CBC compliant. So if you can follow what we have prescribed in those PLCs, that is me. Hakuna kwenda to buy R squared. Now, hands on, minds on, legs in, heads in, everything in. See, I'm going to even the assessment, I think Mr. Otieno may not have said it, but CBC has a different assessment model. Is it now 40-60 or what? When you mesoma your CBC kama mimi. I don't go to the 200 or whatever it is, it will go to, is it 60%? We'll find out, madam. Welcome. I know you have labored to arrive here. Just tell us which school. What you share you mikono juu? We had a lone ranger, but now when a director, they are quite a number. Share you? Oh, camera meficha ule. They have increased. It's almost a PLC. What ya Bishop Njenga, tuliona, si ndio? My brother, the neighbors of your school, Mkumu girls, are in the house. I just want you to know how many there are. Mkumu girls, a complete PLC of 5, but not gender compliant. I wish the TSC fellow was here. So that to say, why are you only sending men to that school? I hope you can take that and share. We know the ministry has several departments, like KICT, NEC, the Teacher Service Commission. Bernardina, next time as a team member, you come early.
Yes, sir.
Stand up, what you are a team member?
Yes, sir.
This is a team member, but a red camera. Thank you. Take your seat. She's a team member of the project and a teacher by profession. Assist her with that, and I will make up a model. You know, they normally give me problems. They gave me a lot of problems, differentiate who is Bernardina, who is Swing, but these days I've known the hard way. The two, they look twins, but they are followers. Don't ask me how are. Not followers. Oh, of course, when mkubwa. Kuna mwingine katikati, lakini mnakaa tu mnafanana. Thank you so much. Now, it is time for the boss. It is time. And it's the one standing between us and the health break. I told the hotel fellows, until and unless the boss has given us an okay, we will not sip tea, but give them sweets. So hate me for that. Sir, hate me for that. Until and unless the boss has spoken, there is no tea. And if he doesn't speak, we cancel the lunch. Kindly, we beg you to speak to us so that we can earn the tea. Let us put our hands together to welcome Dr. Rumbasa, the director, in the ministry. Kwani anatosha vile moja. Kama mimi mnanipea moja na yeye. Endelea kwa.
I'm really humble to join me here today. Thank Professor Wanjala, Daktari Wasike, Dr. Chema, Tandika, Dr. Kasgei, Dr. B, PhD students, and all of us teachers. In this day when we come here, as we gather here, we are being given hope, another inspiration that we have a better tomorrow. I think we've come from a very dark times, and we are seeing light at the end of the tunnel. And I think this is the region that only has got their own Jehovah. And I was wondering why we should not have Jehovah Wasike. Because together with Wanjala, they are going to bring another revolution that is going to liberate our people. Why the liberation is that actually, when you look at the many E's that we have, we deserve one person who will be confident enough, who will rise and say, we must change this narrative. And that inspiration that has come in today through the leadership that we have in the Mipip project, and by your commitment, just coming today shows that when we go back, they will see a difference. Because we are going to change the story. We are going to change the narrative. Simply because you are committing yourself today that as you go out, little by little, you will inspire a boy, a girl, and we are going to change the graph. I never looked at it that when we get to reward people, I thought, I'm a maths teacher, I taught in St. Joseph's. I see Vera is there. You are teaching which school?
St. Mark's Girls.
St. Mark's Girls. At that time I had transited to become a quality assurance officer. And the biggest motivation back in school, you are rewarded for getting what? How many? A's in mathematics. And the beauty I will tell my students is that mathematics is the only subject you walk out with confidence knowing you have passed or failed. And true, we can do it. Globally, people are focusing on what we call circular economy in the manufacturing industry. And I was just trying to look at what does it mean to have a circular economy. And if you just using your phone, you look at the circular economy, what does it mean? A circular economy, what does it mean? It's an economic system based on reuse and regeneration of products, especially as a means of continuing production in a sustainable or environmentally friendly way. There is another one. A better one is which one? When we designed the first project, which we implemented together with many other all organizations in the ministry, we stopped somewhere. But this one now brings in the completion of the circle.
A circular economy is a model of production and consumption which involves 1. Sharing, leasing, reusing, repairing, refurbishing, recycling existing materials and products as long as. Now, I never imagined one time universities will ever think about the products they produced. They ever remained in silos. It's only as teachers, when you are taught in class and you have released your product, you don't follow up to know how useful the product is. And from the analysis that Dr. has just given us, how many students scored D+ and below in mean grade? What percentage? Now, if I'm a teacher and you walk to the streets, will you be proud of your product? Will you be proud of your product? Young, will you be proud of your product? Go
Yes. Thank you. I'll be proud of my products.
So, how many A's did you have?
Last year I had 11.
Out of?
59.
What percentage is it?
That was averagely.
So what is your success rate?
We talk of being alone as a success rate. It was around 18.
This project gives us an opportunity to reflect on what we are doing, whether we are doing it right, and whether we have a chance to do it better. If you go back to that same class, the entry behavior of these particular students, which school is that?
KAKAMEGA.
For the students we place in the KAKAMEGA school, Dr. Otieno, in that class, how many came with ease?
None.
None. Are we fair? That I came in with an A, and you are sending me away with an E. So, when we do the error analysis, you need to ask yourself, then, whether what I'm doing is right or wrong. Why can't we be like now? You know, we talked about Jehovah Wanyoni. And then now we have had Jehovah Masike. And then we have now the real Jehovah, that is Jesus Christ. When he says that, one sheep lost, I would rather look for this one sheep lost than the many I have. The interest is on the ones lost. In our class, we have time takers. The slow learners. Nobody is a fool. True or false? And actually, if we had fools in form of grades, then they will not be employing us. Best entrepreneurs around here in Kakamega. How many got A's? How many? It's our judgment that we need to change, and the support mechanisms that we need to provide for us to make these students to succeed. And as we say, CBC, we anticipate that what percentage will go to STEM and ICA?
Yes, 60%.
60% is coming to STEM. And don't take STEM to be the complicated sciences that we have in the universities, engineering and everything. When you go to a vocational training school, is it a STEM program or not? They are STEM. Even with the big mathematics we have, then why have you condemned this person and you're not taking a stool as a failure? Prof, if you got a small wiring problem in your car, where do you take it? Do you take it where professors are? No. You take it where? To the garage. And you know, Madam, wale wanafunzi wake huko shule gani? St. Matthews, wale jamaa ulipiga ukafukuza ukasema hawa sitaki kuwaona kwa darasa yangu ya physics na mathematics, hao ndio wanafanya wiring gari ya nini?
Hao ndio wanausonga nywele.
We need to change. We need to change. It's a wake-up call, and let us take this project seriously. We experimented, Dr. Otieno, with the SBTS, but we missed because we did not have what? The producer. The producer here is the teacher training institution. Now that we have these universities on board, and they are supporting you in class as you teach, and the most evident thing is, globally, everybody is doing what you call the mega data analytics. So why can't you take time so that the decision you make should be evidence-based? Analyze the way that particular learner has responded to a mathematical problem. Try to understand where did this student deviate. And I'm very sure in mathematics, nobody goes wrong. It's only based on what are your assumptions that made you to say this is the correct answer. If you ask this student will be able to defend and tell you why. But because we have the universal rules to apply, then let us try to put that into practice. So we are practicing a circular economy whereby we have the university and all of us are products from the university. And because we are selling a service and they are following us to assess whether we are delivering this service effectively or not, and then supporting us, and we evaluate, and then we reorient ourselves so that we can continuously improve on our instructional practice. This is done in China, and when you look at Shanghai, it has always taken the lead in terms of innovations, and globally, some of the research products that we have, simply because they have a strong correlation between the academia and the industry. And the industry is now our school center, where we are selling the service. And where did you get the service? Either when you look at my brother, whatever you are delivering, you are either teaching the way your high school teacher taught you, if not, how professor did it in the university. So let us commit ourselves to one thing. We must have a balance. And we must strive to ensure that we assist the track to determine why are we having more ease and how can we improve so that we can have more innovators make a difference in our economy today. And out of this, I strongly believe that we'll have policy briefs, that we'll have a shift and help Director Andika when we design the curriculum. In the curriculum design, sometimes we prescribe and suggest some of what the teaching approaches. Perhaps we will move a step ahead and look at compelling the teacher, giving them time to undertake the error analysis and what steps can they undertake in supporting the learners. We have tried to develop what we call an accelerated education learning policy so that we can see these time takers, what initiatives can we put in place to bring them at par with others. Ladies and gentlemen, as Dr. Wasike had said, I'm the only enemy between your tea and this speech. And in the interest of the popular vote, allow me to end here and wish you a fruitful deliberation. reflections as we commit ourselves that out of how many counties?
11.
The 11 counties. And your school is not been taken just by chance. There is a reason why you are here today. You can sell your product globally. And we have one common marketplace called what? The virtual village, where we all belong. Right now, you have news from America. You have news from Gaza. We have news from Congo. If you just a good teacher of mathematics, do the miracle. Generate the content, record the e-content. Let people see. If you are teaching statistics, if you are teaching algebra, and you are teaching it with a difference, make yourself significant so that people can read your story. Even if you died, they keep what? Seeing your story. And that's the only way we can preserve knowledge, by ensuring that we also contribute to the eco-content. The future classroom has also migrated. They will, how many of you are doing online tuition and support your learners? Even if they are at home. How many are doing that? That is doing it. Why are you waiting? TikTok. Allow this student to learn at her pace, at his pace. And at the same time, you can create a virtual classroom and continue supporting a community worldwide. There is one girl who was in Mahmoud called Dr. Winnie. She's now in Canada. She's promoting what you call education for sustainable development. And each and every evening, every week, like tomorrow when you join, you meet people from all over the world under the GPE kicks and under IGPA. We also look at the content that you are going to generate. If you avail it, then what is going to happen? We're going to sell our product. But all of us as a country, in terms of our digital growth where we are consumers. We are not selling our products. Wacha kupanda nyanya, mahindi, mboga, kahawa, ile Mungu anakupatia sasa. Rudi penye daktari amesema, soma hiyo topic vizuri, tengeneza lesson, fundisha, because you are a community of practice. Wacha mmoja record, achilia. Utaona mtoto mwenye ako mama ngina Mombasa anaangalia hiyo clip, anasoma, na wewe unapata pesa in the long run. And that is what even KICT does with music. People are able to see what we have produced and we are able to sell them in real time. We have a policy in place, workplace policy, to preserve our gig workers. And therefore, join that particular team so that you can sell your service and export it globally. That's where we are. And in our day-to-day activity, we do partnerships and there is Kenya and beyond. So Rwanda is slightly ahead of us. But if through this project we have 250 schools, then that means if all of you did it today, what is going to happen? In the next 1 year, your neighboring school will be saying, we are seeing a difference with what is happening in Sheyu. We are seeing a difference with what is happening in KAKAMEGA school. Then we light a bushfire and we have to conquer the world. Thank you so much and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Director. We are humbled as the Mipip team. We are humbled as the teachers to have you in our midst and work with you this evening to improve the mathematics instruction process in our schools to benefit our teachers, and that's exactly what we are saying. Ladies and gentlemen, let us applaud once again. We now give him 5 factorials, the Kabuchai ones that I came. Okay? The Kabuchai ones. So prepare for the Kabuchai ones. I didn't say you do it this way. The Kabuchai ones, you scoop. The scoop. When you do this, is not a scoop. The scoop for the sake of the latecomers, with the scoop, then we give 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Because he has accepted that we go take tea. That's how. Let's go. No others missed steps. Like the left right under my nose, but I'm not. You are too. Why are you suspecting yourself? That's why they normally say that the packer that has taken the milk, immediately you open the door, it will always run. Madam, don't suspect yourself. So I want to appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. I want to appreciate our stakeholders from NEC, from KICD, and our head from the ministry. I want to appreciate colleagues from the team for the first session that we have had. And that we are doing that, the real people continue to arrive. Mukumu boys, arrive. Your hands up. Mukumu boys, they are in the house. So Mukumu girls is there. Mukumu boys, they are present. Say hi to him. Then you will talk your the Mukumu language. I don't know what your motto is, but mine was Orare et Laborare. Orare et Laborare. Which school is that? No. Orare et Laborare. Which one is it? The saint. Don't just say it. No. The saint. The saint Mary is the boys' school with a female saint. And there are very few in this republic. You talk of St. Mary's Yard. St. Mary's Kibabi, they used to be only 3 in the Republic of Kenya. Now they have mushroom. And because of that, we are giving ourselves 15 minutes break. Then we resume. Tea, I think he served well, Faith. Tell us where the tea is being served. I'm a very bad timekeeper. At the tent, I saw them putting up tents there. So from here, we walk there, you can enjoy the vitamin D, vitamin E. You can interact. Because I normally say that don't people from the same school don't sit together. Make those changes. So that we don't do inbreeding. So I start from here. Thank you so much. Please enjoy your tea. I think it's up main restaurant. We go to the main restaurant, ladies and gentlemen, we say good night. Go. But you are here and you just take the position.
Okay.
In our professional learning communities in groups of 3 to 5 teachers, we dialogue, work together on our Mipip priorities. What we need to know is that in our PLCs, there is supportive and shared leadership where we support one another as we lead ourselves into meaningful discussions and focus on the Mipip priorities. Then we share the values and vision because we are all focused on improving learning outcomes through effective instructional practices. There is collective learning because we learn from one another. That is why we encourage in PLC to always be open and ready to learn based on the experiences we have from different classroom settings. Then in the end, there is need for shared personal practice. We share our experiences in class. We need supportive conditions to one another, that is in terms of relationship and structure, so that we are able to maintain our PLCs. So as you discuss in your schools, know very well that these are attributes of a good professional learning community. In Mipip, we focus on peer instruction. That is why we encourage teachers to work with one another during the instructional processes. You can teach. And more importantly is teacher learning. You want to learn from one another. Our coming together in a PLC is to learn from one another, work as a team, and collaboratively work on how best to improve instructional practices. We emphasize gender equality and inclusivity, and in our case, we lay focus on the methods, materials, the examples, the exercises we use in class. They should be gender sensitive so that we cater for learners of all gender. Then in our pursuit for attitude change, we lay emphasis on role models. In our midst, we have our role models from the ministry, NEC, KICT, and during the project, we'll be ensuring that we get into contact with role models, successful mathematicians, who will give an opportunity to at least even talk to our learners in schools. So our aim is to ensure that we change the perception about mathematics. We also lay emphasis on development and use of instructional materials. We encourage improvisation, and key to Mipip is that let's involve our learners in preparing this material so that in the end we talk about mathematization of an environment. Let us have an environment where mathematics is encouraged. This will motivate our learners. Then as we work towards use of ICTs in instruction, we want all to be involved in the development of materials so that we make use of local examples, exercises as per the abilities or the levels of our learners in our local school, so that in the end we have digital content that can be used by all types of learners. As I said earlier, we lay emphasis on dialogue. That is why we encourage discussions in schools, in your PLCs. At your free time, maybe after the lessons, you meet together where you focus on the Mipip priorities, you analyze the learner errors, or NEC reports, on the daily tasks that you give to your learners. Then you share amongst yourselves on how best to address them. The reason for that is we want to avoid blame on either the teacher or the learner. Towards the integration of technology lay emphasis on the technological, pedagogical content knowledge preparation. So we are beginning from the low level of developing content. That is why, as we said earlier, as the people are saying, with the time we will share topics amongst ourselves. And now, since we are in CBC, we will share topics in the CBC curriculum. So each PLC will pick a topic, we develop the content, then we will standardize it, then we will also outboard it on the learning management system, and we will acquaint you to the use of the learning management system. One of the priorities of Mipip is analysis of learner errors. I want to go slightly deeper into the analysis of learner errors so that at the end of this particular workshop, you should be able to know what you'll be doing in the schools or to improve on what you'll be doing when it comes to analysis of errors. When analyzing errors, there are different types of errors: conceptual errors, factual errors. We've also categories of errors according to the reading. That's Newman's category of errors. The reading errors, comprehension errors, and coding errors. So, as we provided relevant material to guide teachers on the type of errors. But as we do research, we note that those particular errors, we categorize them, then we research on how we can address each of the different types of errors, or the errors as categorized. So what we only require from you is those recorded discussions when you are sharing about the errors learners make on mathematical problems, and when you interrogate the learners on the causes of those particular errors. We've also provided guidelines on the kind of questions or type of questions you can use to probe the learner so that you are able to find out the learner thinking behind that particular error. And remember, we've also developed a framework for discussion so that as you discuss in your PLCs, we ensure that you have a meaningful discussion, but we will use that during analysis. Then after identifying the errors and analyzing them, we expect that you share within the PLCs. You share about those particular errors, you interrogate the learners, then you discuss how to handle those errors. Then with that particular data, you use that particular data now to inform practice. You design lessons together, you team teach, then you reflect on those particular lessons. Once we get your discussions during lesson reflections, we can be able to come up with effective ways on how best we can use that data to inform and improve instruction. Remember, we also share about the experiences on effective instructional practices. We've also documented the effective instructional practice that can promote gender equality and inclusivity. Other than that, we've also given guidelines on how they can be implemented in our classroom. So we expect that you acquaint yourself to that and always get the necessary information. You can also get that information on the website, so that with the time you are able to make use of that to ensure that we improve the instructional practices. So we encourage that you keep on discussing about the most effective strategies, and there's no way you can keep discussing about a strategy and fail to implement it. Then the other crucial aspect is instructional materials use. We emphasize identification, selection, and use of materials in instructional practices. And we begin through the analysis of textbooks, models, and other relevant instructional materials. We encourage that when you are using textbook, don't just be a textbook teacher. There are teachers who just use the examples in the textbook, pick a few exercises, in fact similar ones, that give them the learners, they give an assignment, they don't mark. What we call textbook teachers, we discourage that. We encourage that you keep sharing amongst yourselves in selecting the most appropriate materials to use, examples to use, exercises to use, and that is why when we looking at digitalization of content, we lay emphasis on selecting examples and exercises that cater for individual learner needs, so that when we be coming up with that particular content, it shall be content that can promote all learners with individual different characteristics. Then when it comes to digitalization of content, we encourage dialogue around the use of digital tools in instruction. So in your PLCs, we also want to hear the challenges and opportunities for the use of these particular tools. So as you discuss, that information is available to us because we shall use that as we develop the content. Then we also emphasize on developing content that can be used by all learners. That is why we emphasize on organization and standardization. And as we develop that content, take into consideration the teaching and learning principles, teaching from known to unknown, simple to complex. So that when we develop that, we'll ensure that the kind of content we develop suits our learners. We have some developed materials online, but keen look at them, they are not meant for our learners. So that is why as Mipip, we want to involve you teachers and into your experience. We want to get local examples, use local names, objects in the environment of the learner, so that as we develop that particular content, it will be standardized and learners all types of learners in our institutions will be able to make use of that. During the engagements in Mipip, we will ensure that we develop content that is suitable to all learners in Kenya, and we will engage you in preparation of that particular content. Thank you very much for giving me time to talk about the Mipip priorities and the kind of activities we will be involved in during this week.
And because of that, once again, take the floor. Take the floor. And you will got that ready. Be ready. Because your name is B, and you are never ready. How many minutes are you giving? Please, dealing with the digital. Okay? So be ready. Continue to read, whether it's live. So that I do that. So, B will be dealing with digital. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know I've been telling you that I don't know if my mother or father didn't say the whole truth. Look at this gentleman and look at me. When you are teaching similarity and congruence, sir, when you are teaching similarity and congruence, complete yourself. My brother from
Now, thank you so much.
Say bye. No, I'm going to hide. Why are you refusing? Horizontally? Look at this. Is one chasing the other? I talk of similarity. I didn't say they are the same. It's similarity.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Allow me to say good afternoon, everyone. Right. So, one thing is actually interesting. I wish all of us could be like the way it means the students will not be bored in class. And that is what we need to be as math teachers. You have to engage your learners. Make sure that they play a key role in the student learning. Now, for this case, let's check something on digital content. Right? Now, allow me to proceed. Good. No problem. I'm used to my laptop.
You have to be comfortable.
It's okay. Thank you so much. Now, under digital utilization of content activities, we've said, and the professor said, that we need to do a lot of dialogue, especially on the type of tools to be used in instruction. I know we can have challenges, right? A good example is the one, I've just used a new machine, unlike mine, and I got slightly challenged, but now I'm on the set, right? So when you'll be with your learners, ensure that they know how to operate these machines in line with the teaching and learning of mathematics. In the CPC, we are supposed to teach our learners to know how to use these systems, right? So, under our area for MIPS, we learn much on the TPCK framework development, which deals so much with knowledge and skills and the use of the ICTs as well. Now, under content development, organization, and standardization, that will be our great area of emphasis. Professor said we need to develop the content in line with what is required under CPC. A good example I can give, if you're dealing with the this area of completing square meter, right? The use of completing square meter. That when you're teaching your learners, start with the basics. Just start with x plus 2 is equal to 0. What is x? The next level, x squared is equal to 4. What is x? Then you now grow, you say, all right, x squared minus 2 is equal to 0. You know you can train your learners in that level, you know, from low to high. Are we together? And then after level where you now solve x using completing square method. And then after that, teach your learners on how to derive the formula x is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4h over 2a. Let them know. Because we've been having challenges in the university. You ask your learner, please, can you derive this? They don't do it. They will just say, I was told by Molly that to find x in a quadratic equation, we use this. That should not be the case. Let the learner know how to do it. Right? Yes. So I think that is why we are coming up with this. And as a great teacher, you need to come up with a plan for learning to use a learning management system in the utilization of content based on mathematical tasks, activities, examples, exercises, and test problems. Now, when it comes to the area of planning, please give out the content which suits those learners. Don't make a mistake, you give out a content which is meant for Form 2, you give unto Class 16. It's wrong, right? So if it is meant for Form 2, let it. I think soon we are going to grades, right? So make sure you give examples which are just, when you're giving out the problem, you see where you're killing those kids. So as a mathematics teacher, please, that is what we need to do. Right? And then give them some of the test problems which are related to the examples you've given them. Right? And ensure that you engage the team leaders, engage your teachers in conceptualization of the mathematics syllabus and topics. Right? I'm happy the KICD, we've done that, so it's asked to implement. Right? But we make it lively so that things can work well in class. Now, another area which we've been having a problem is the language of instruction. Please, our teaching should be learner-centered. But some of us, you heard one of our presenters saying that when we go to class, we speak Greek. That should not be the case. We need to speak the language which our learners can understand. Hello, are we together? Yes. Yes. So, and then let your work be learner-based activities. If you give them a problem, let it be learner-centered. Let's not go back to the way we were taught when we went through A level, where you meet a teacher in class. I asked one of the professors in university, called Professor, that is Orisa. I asked him now, bro, it was real analysis too. How do we come up with this? Then he said, I don't know. That's how I was taught in university. That was the end. That's why I never proceeded with the pure maths. I ended up now doing statistics. Because the fellow was not friendly. Let's not be like that when we're teaching our babies. Alright? let's be friendly so that they can move on. Yes, yes. So, and then you can as well do a lot of tasks. You group the learners in small groups, individual learners. Make sure that you group them according to their abilities. Don't just feed a sharp boy with the weak ones. The others will be doing, right? They will not have any say. So make sure you balance accordingly in your schools. And then the examples you give out is what the professor said, that the examples should be within their periphery, right? So they should be within their systems. And then, on the part of examples, you need to give out further and based on the syllabus, skills, development as per the substance. This time we're now going to substance. We need to discard, we need now to move on to the new system of writing skills of work. We use substance, strands, learning outcomes, and so forth. Then on the part of the work exercises, I say they should be friendly, start with the common ones, and then as you advance to the complex ones. And then give them some hints if need be, especially when it comes to some difficult areas, right? That's what you need to have done. And then we can also say that you need to know that the teaching and learning principles should be followed. Simple to complex, familiar to unfamiliar, hungry to abstract. I had already mentioned that. Good. Now, this is the way you should come up with the template for the digital content. We have the strand, sub-strand there, learning outcomes, assessments. And assessment, you need to write that the learner should be able to. The problem we have with some of us, we just generalize. You don't need to generalize, all right? Use the learner should be able to solve, calculate, examine, blah, blah, blah. And then, on the part of the content delivery, each strand includes learning activities. You also put some tasks there, work out examples, exercises, and so forth and so on. Then also, you need to indicate the resources you're going to use. Right? Yeah, for us, we are teaching in high school. I know right now, we've not had the CPC students, all right? Soon and very soon, next year, you'll be having them. So you'll do away with the normal way of writing the lesson. You need to change. You need to practice as from now, because this is the way to go. Right? We are going to Finland. I think Finland have already adopted this, so that's what we're supposed to do. Now, you also need to, when coming up with that, especially on the part of the development, you have to check on the previous understanding, or at times we call it prior knowledge. When you're teaching, you need to highlight what the learners know and what they don't know and what they should. At the right, by the end of this strand, the learner should be able to. Then, and also digital literacy skills. Then, apart from that, you also have some of the skills to be developed at the end of the session. And then, illustrations. This one, the teacher to do 1, 2, 3, like to demonstrate, identify these and so forth. And then the teacher should also guide the learners on 1 or 2 ways. And then the learners should be provided with this and this so that the activities can move on. Right? Yeah, so that's how it should be. And then as well, up to the 7th one, step number 7, the learner identifies 1, 2, 3. All these are the activities to be done by the teacher and the learner, right, during the lesson presentation. And then you conclude. Make sure that you conclude accordingly. Please, under conclusion, you have to explain how much of the learners understood and do we have any gap, right? Yes. So, that's it. And then, I think on the formulas, you have to show them how to drive. I think I mentioned that. The same to the activities. Then you reflect on the lesson. How much have they understood? Where's the challenge? And this one you can do it through question answer method. You can record all these record the videos, you can have audio, graphics, excerpts of that is instructions and so forth. All this to be uploaded by you when you be doing the activity. So the main thing you're supposed to do as a great teacher, you do some recordings, carry on with audios, graphics, and you upload all of them. And that one shall be worth. Right? Yeah, I think this is a repetition. It's highlights only. Right? Good. Okay. Yes, I think I can now.
Teacher, or are you a bad or a baddest mathematics teacher? Huh? I'm typing because let the Numa digest first. Okay? I know that's a carbohydrate and it takes time. We will ask them if the welfare is well catered for with him. Okay? We missed out last time on a special meal. Please, in the last training somewhere, find out a special meal. Some of us have a special diet. So find out for the poor. We have a special diet of boiled things only, no salt. See what is mama to temper. See that gentleman for the poor. Mwambie unajua mimi napenda yangu ukiongeza mafuta mingi. Ndio sababu nataka kunona. Hiyo mimi yangu niliapa nisitumie mafuta, nisitumie chumvi, yani tu iweko tu maji. Sawa sawa? Ndio kwa yeah? No. I was waiting for a serious one. You know when you demand, we may not give you. We will defy it because in psychology I was taught reinforcement. It can be immediate, it can be delayed, or deferred. But because of that, and we are saying if you have followed him, what he has presented is how we are going to present our content. Is aligning with the CBC curriculum. Sub-plan, okay? Learning outcomes, assessment. They want to talk about topic. Subtopic. Wakiandika tu hivyo, I'll write to you, I'll tell you. Walimu wa shule fulani, chunguza hao. So, and we are saying that you learn about smart objectives. But when he's teaching of late, doesn't talk about smart objectives. He talks about matter. Exciting. They must be exciting. If it excites you, madam, then it will also excite the learner. Let's hear. Because at the end of it all, what will be the fulfillment? You as a teacher, you are giving a conclusion about the whole topic that you have written about, the strand that you have done. How does it reward you? How about the learner? So we don't talk about smart objectives. We talk about smarter objectives. What a PI. You have said you have 2 slides. 2. I give you 5 minutes for that. And B had run away for their service. I'll give you 10 minutes, then we have a short plenary. Then we can now have lunch.
Thank you very much, Dr. I just want to talk about conversations with professional learning. In our passion to have meaningful discussions, Mipip we've developed a framework for conversations and facilitations. The essence of this is to encourage teachers to be more focused on the Mipip priorities, analysis of learner errors, data-driven. We encourage productive discussions in our PLCs, and this entails the use of moves, the kind of moves you make during a discussion to ensure that you focus on the Mipip priorities. The moves are cutting. When you talk about the process, it means how you do it, the kind of moves you make to ensure that members are at ease and are able to discussion. When it comes to content, that means whatever you are discussing about, focus on the Mipip priority. Mathematics, that is the content. Are you talking about how to work together as a group? Are you talking about practice, what you do? And the impact of these conversations is assessed in terms of the number of moves you make during a conversation. Colleagues to focus on the Mipip priorities is the level 1. When you just create general deliberations, is the lowest level 1 we refer to as level 1. Then a level 2, other than creating or forming general impressions, you highlight noteworthy events or examples in a discussion. That is level 2. Then at level 3, other than highlighting noteworthy events, the teachers or the people in the PLC provide interpretive and analytical comments on whatever they are discussing about. So you've moved to at least a higher level. Then the last level is when, other than highlighting noteworthy events and providing interpretive and analytical comments, you now start to refer to specific examples. You know, when you start referring to specific examples, that leads you into making generalization, and that becomes now the last level or the highest level in a discussion. So, as we discuss in our PLCs, we need to know that we always discuss at different levels. As Mipip, we encourage that as you do your discussions in your PLCs, just be natural. But as time goes by, you will just be acquainted to this framework, and that will ensure that whatever the kind of discussions you have are more meaningful. So as you work on your discussions in your PLCs, remember you always start with the setup. Setup is when now you are initiating the discussion, you greet each other, at least you will come to learn of each other. That is during the setup. Then as you move on, you focus on the content. At times there is off topic, because in a normal discussion, because of our day-to-day activities, at times we will deviate. So in our framework, we provide for that. That is the off topic. The setup, off topic, when you deviate, then the end topic when you are ending. And we advise that when you are ending a particular discussion in a PLC, at least you summarize the points. Then as a facilitator, that is why we've developed
The cow has refused to give milk. Where do you press?
In our conversations or discussion, remember, as a team leader, you need to be an effective facilitator of a discussion. As a facilitator, we've documented the kind of moves you can make to encourage productive discussions amongst your members. There are 3 types of moves you make as a facilitator or as a leader of that conversation. We have the process moves, the content moves, and community. And process moves, as I said earlier, the kind of moves you make as a facilitator to ensure that we have a productive discussion. The process moves deal with what you do to encourage your members to fully participate and to concentrate on the Mipip priorities. In the process moves, we have another category, that is 3 subcategories, that is managing a discussion or managing a conversation, maintaining a conversation, and an input. Managing a conversation has a number of moves. There are about 8. We've documented these moves from introduction, that is when you come to learn of one another, calling to present, when you call your colleague to present, asking for comment in a discussion, then end topic, when you are ending a particular topic and moving to another one, then allocating, when you allocate maybe a colleague to talk about a particular issue, repeating for clarity, choosing a contribution and bringing back in case during a conversation a member maybe deviates and starts talking about what is not important. Then when it comes to maintaining, the kind of moves that we use or we do to maintain a discussion or a conversation include a revoice. When you are emphasizing a particular point, then you repeat it in a manner that the members are able to understand what you want them to understand. Then there's clarify. When you are clarifying a particular point in a discussion, that particular move of clarifying serves the role of maintaining the conversation. Then pushing, trying to push a colleague to talk about what is relevant to that particular conversation. So there is that move of pushes or pushing. Then you give time to a colleague to talk about the topic of interest and make links when you try to relate to other subject matter. Then at the end you draw together when you want to come up with a conclusion on whatever you discuss. Then the input moves come in when, as a facilitator, you try to explain your members to understand a particular subject. So in a discussion, at times you explain to your members to ensure that they are able to focus on the priority responses in case of a query. Then again, we also have that move of clarifying when we come to the subcategory of input, where you clarify some concepts or some ideas. And lastly, research, when you compare whatever you know with whatever you are discussing. Knowledge, your prior knowledge to improve on whatever you are discussing. Content moves come in now when you focus on the learner, because one of our priorities is analysis of learner error. When you talk about the learner in a conversation, it is coded as learner. When you talk about the mathematics, like a particular mathematics, then when you also talk about practice, what you do now, or what you do to address learner errors in terms of instruction, that is now practice. So under content we have the learner moves, mathematics moves, practice moves, and Mipip now. There are 4. Mipip now is now when you just focus on what we encourage you to focus on in Mipip. Then the last move is community. Community, there are moves you make that enhance working together. You know, the innovation is teachers working together in small groups. Talk about the Mipip priority. So the kind of moves you make to promote working together come under the category of community moves, like validating or affirming ideas, recognizing contribution. When you recognize contributions of one another, by doing that you encourage your colleague. And the purpose of this tablet or this facilitation and conversation unit is to enhance having productive discussions in our PLCs. Remember, we emphasize focus on our Mipip priorities. As you focus on those priorities in your school, in your PLCs, and during workshops like this, we lay emphasis on productive discussions, and we've documented the kind of moves you can make to ensure that you have a meaningful discussion, and we will use this for analysis. Remember, what we only expect from you are the recorded audios and videos. So as you record those particular audios and videos, know very well we will be analyzing so that in the end we'll be able to know that you took this amount of time. Focus on the learner, focus on practice, to focus on instructional practices. But what we encourage is that as team leaders and members of our PLCs, let's try more meaningful. These particular documents, we provided them on these documents as guides. So we've also documented the roles of facilitator. You have a role to ensure productive discussion. As you challenge existing knowledge and assumptions, focus should be to ensure that your members participate fully and are able to focus on the Mipip priorities. Then when it comes to probing for deeper thinking, especially when you are discussing a group and you want your members to come out and express themselves on what they feel in relation to whatever you are discussing about, there are techniques for probing. We've provided, in Mipip, we've provided the art of questioning technique, where we've listed the kind of questions you can use, be it in a discussion in a PLCs or when interrogating learners on the concept of learner error. So that guide, you can use those questions to probe the learner. The same to the teachers in a PLC, there are kind of questions you can use as a facilitator to ensure that your member people interacting with you during the school visits, to be visiting you, to encourage you to work on our priorities, and as you focus on the Mipip priorities. We've also documented on the effective communication skills. The essence of this is to enhance your discussions and ensure that we have meaningful discussions in the we lay emphasis on using appropriate discussions in PLCs so that ensure that your members are able to concentrate on maybe priorities and any other useful materials towards the teaching.
I don't want to clap for him because he has not observed time. He talked of 2 slides. He has made presentation number 4. But we can clap for him because he has made us cover presentation 4. Okay? Because of that, and for having made us go ahead faster and earlier. And because the next presenter will take 10 minutes, then we have to invite him, or he has to do that. 10 minutes. Then we have to invite him, or he has to do that. My sisters are like that, and my sisters are like that, and therefore, hate me for that. Hate me for that. That is what we from you. And the documentation in that meeting room. And the documentation in that meeting room. Them also, if they want, they look at it, and then this is how.
I think they are tired. Supposed to be straight. Let us stand up. Supposed to be straight. Let us stand up. In the previous years, we have been reciting on articles. So many applications, they are just on articles. Trying to see how best we can we add 325,000 students. Representing 13% of the total students who sat for mathematics. So this is an indication that this project is very important and will really help us so that the number of these students get grades. So the I just come from 3 different areas. We can get the errors that the students are seeing. Because it will say that this pattern in the system that class. And also even up so that we can really get the least also. We also have the third source of errors. So once we have gotten all these errors, we are encouraging you from the students or from him or herself. Then once we have discussed the errors, you are required to make some recommendation based on methodology. How best can we approach the way we present content to the students so that they don't repeat the same error in the future? So you identify the error, keep the recommendation in terms of methodology and also materials. What we do, what we use, so that we get the students achieve meaningful learning. So once we are through with that, you are supposed to send the videos and also 2 minutes. And when you are meeting, you are supposed to record. Have a video recording of the minutes, or the meetings, or the proceeding during your meetings, and then you send the same to your coordinator, the digital coordinator, so that's with a report based on the errors. And as the PI said, that we are planning so that we shall have each PLC handling a topic. But on my side, so once we've gotten those data, we are supposed to make full use of the same. Analyze how the trend in terms of the errors the students are making. Are they similar? Do they have the same errors every time you are doing the data? Are there some new errors made by the students? So once you have identified the trend, please you are required to put in practice. Changes. See whether the students are improving. So when we meet next, after, and then you also come up with, we just have a, so that we will see whether there is any significant improvement or not. Next, because of time, what will influence again the achievement of objective and the resources to use in the species? Human resource. There was an uproar among the voters that as a mathematics teacher, please names you record. Let me know, see whether their names you record. Let me know, see whether they are making noise. We also have models. You can even invite a banker, somebody who is working in the bank. You can invite somebody who is working in the bank. You can invite when it comes to so that should be done by the students, done by the students. So that this is moving. So we have some activity. So we have some activity use your free time. Use your free time. Probably we have to give so that you can come up with a recording. But Richard was saying that hands are so shy to know what's happening. Or you can have some else that he or she can do better, then he or she will open up. Because after all, then however great you achieve, it means process, even teaching. Yeah, we are yet to get the new practice for only one. Yeah, we have been told Romans have it that the mean grade for mathematics and English will be raised to B-. So it's in school for career, one will
be able to pursue without doing running mathematics. Am I still within the time? No, the past. Oh, thank you, thank you. So that is it. So the main work is done by the SENSITIZATION. So please, we are calling upon you to ensure that as our students, you start to your time. And make sure that you document. Anything you do within the class, document. You're going to take a photograph as class of what the students have done, the errors the students have done. Then let's look how much that is an evidence of getting confidence. So thank you very much. I know when we team up together, we shall be able to succeed. So thank you. Be blessed.
Makofi kwa Bi. Huyu mnampea tatu. Tatu. Tulia. Ama Mwingland. Makofi matatu kwa Bi. Acha wengine wanataka bio ndio. Yes. I know he has added more things. He has told you about taking even photos of whatever pictures of what you are doing, pictures of the students' work, so that you also upload. Mungu mnaambiwa? Yes. Mungu mnaambiwa what to do. Si ndio? Haya. Kama asubuhi hamjaongea, sisi tulikuwa tunaongea. Naopea nafasi kuongea. Anzia Rebecca neno. Unataka kuongea? Wanaangalia, how are you, sir? Introduce me to yourself. You are too senior. I don't support you.
Mr. Samuel.
Aka. Rebecca nano. It's plenary. That's why. Even the compliments are around. Apa? Yes. Presenters, be very careful with the questions.
Okay, thank you so much for this. I teach in a pure day school where students are in school normally between 7 and 4 or 5 years old. So we have a challenge, like when it comes to time when the schools are evaluating school fees. Part of the subject may be so ready to go to class to teach, but then the students are available. And so what you teach, the students end up not getting it. So that even when it comes to now assessment of the rest students, they are not able to respond so well to the things you taught while they were away from school. So my question is, how do we ensure that students' retention to school is 100%?
I leave it to the PI to respond to that. Any other? This side. Even our stakeholders, you can throw a question to another stakeholder. No problem. This side, I should remind people for they should talk before they go for lunch. If they don't talk, they should not eat. Because they don't have work. The old book says, food is for only those who have work. Do you have work? My brother, do you have work? These are not the forums. Brennan, ask. Uliza mtu ya KICD yuko hapa, wadi ya neki hapa, wenye project yuko hapa, uliza maswali. So far. Uko nyuma? Zilikuwa nafasi? Please coordinate all your questions and how many.
You are surprising me. Okay, thank you. I have a question to the officer from
when you come close to me, I move away. You're not interested.
Okay, thank you.
Please.
I have a question to the officer from KAKAMEGA. I attended a parents meeting in the junior secondary school at my daughter lands, and I was shocked to learn that the students in junior secondary school are being required to use calculators and mathematical tables to handle topics which we teach in secondary school, are topics such as approximation and errors. So what I was wondering is, are these students of age to handle such a tough topic of approximation and errors at a low level just in a secondary school?
Very good question. Noted. This side, before I come to our stakeholders, seismic. Any question? Seismic. You know seismic, don't fear. Wananguruma kwanza wewe ni wa timu yangu, timu kubwa. Hapana timu ya kujichosha, timu yenye imejikubali kuwa permanent attention on the table at number 3.
Our tech officer. Here, of course, we don't have the circular, but we hear that the CPC, we allow 40% school-based evaluation.
Yes.
And then the next jump is 60%.
Yes.
So my question is, how will they combine these things, and how credible will they?
The school-based assessment.
How credible will it be? What maybe teachers can help our learners?
Just give them marks.
How credible?
Very good question. Huko nyuma, msipoongea, I'm going to remind you. Na nyinyi mnajua mko close na wadosi huku, niliona mmoja akasignal. Wanajuana kitambo. Especially the director. My brother. Unajua director anajua wewe peke yako.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Basike.
Yes.
I think mine is past is accomplishment. I want to thank the facilitators. We are really getting new ideas, and we are engineering our mindset so that we welcome the CBC group. Mine is just one concern in mathematics, and I'm happy that 844 is being phased out. The number of E's. In the class you have maybe 30 students, and there are 10 who are getting E's consistently. 02, you give a test, 02. You have tried to all other methodology, still 02 or 01. The match is can score is 010. So what do you do? How do you encourage this student? So we need to see one way of how handling such a students in class, because they become motivated, and eventually they have big advantages. The zero group, maybe from 0 to 9. They are put. At times they say that we have tried like this. I read. In fact, in the class, the exercises they do, they get the answers. But when they test them, they still get zeros.
Thank you. A very good question. Now people are woken up. I wanted to ask you the next, but tuache na wewe, tumalize na wewe, alafu tutakuwa tumekaribia. Yes. Okay, umenu. Inua mkono unapata na mwananchi. Why are you not just put it down? So wewe briefly. Then wewe alafu Madam Patricia.
Okay, thank you, Dr. My concern is we come across various errors.
Yes.
And some are like a student has committed an error that you can easily correct. So my question is, what's the main mark of the error that qualifies for this analysis?
Exactly. PI, you will respond as brief.
Thank you, Dr. Just make your list just to, I have my teacher here and I appreciate that he does.
Aka.
Yes.
Feel appreciated.
Thank you. Then I want to just appreciate the one who took that take time for that to analyze a student has made a mistake and an error.
Yes.
You know, I was just teaching this morning reflection.
Yes.
Then it is a reflection in the line y is equal to x, and the student insists that he has to draw a line that is, from the object to the image.
The image.
That is vertical. He can't see that it has to be. I was almost being harsh, but now I understand the other line for the problem. Then number two, I just want to request that this is with the seriousness it deserves. I hope that by the end of it all, I will have a certificate to show that I now am a different person.
I think that one it will be answered at the end of the second plenary by my order. the PI will respond. There is something. My brother?
Also, thank you. My question one goes to me, and also KSD. We have this issue of aspects that are coming in the Kenyan International Council as far as money is concerned. For example, we take an issue of an accurate answer to the question given in a time listening. We also talk about the negative listening. You see, when you talk about the KSD, it's giving the same aspect, for example, distributed and figures. Then also we talk about the issue, for example, like giving the value of X having variables. You may see the KSD is talking about giving the commas. But if you apply that one, either the negative level whereby you use either R or we talk about X squared, that becomes an answer. So then what's the correlation between this next and KSD? Because these schools now, we cannot have the examiners. Once you take on about the KSD, then it becomes a problem. I know that that's been one of the contributing factors. That's why we are having a lot of things in the country. So why is that NEC and the KSD is not connecting the same way?
Very good question. Now, the person who wanted to ask the other question because now he was supposed to respond. Now, let us responses. PI, I'm one that you attended to outside. The issue of certification, the issue of retention, the issue of classification of errors.
Thank you very much. When it comes to classification of errors, different types of errors are. We think we are interrogating to find out the cause of those errors and how to address them. Calculation and learner misses out to maybe as a result of a reading error or comprehension error or encoding asleep. An error is made by a learner as a result of either lack of conceptual understanding or factual understanding to comprehend that particular question. When an error is repeated 5 times, it forms an error pattern. So when you talk about the level of a particular error, you subject a learner to a particular task, then the learners keep on repeating that same error. If you give 5 different questions, but on that particular concept, and you realize that the error is being repeated, that now becomes an error pattern. And remember, there are different causes of errors. But remember, there are different categories. That's why I say that we need people to provide on how to understand the different types of errors. So as we begin your recordings, we'll also be able to analyze the most errors made by a particular learner. So we have different categories. We need to determine an error. We talked of the bench. And as Mipip, remember, one of our objectives is to promote gender equality. One of our objectives is to promote gender equality. It does with the administration, but as mathematics teachers, what do we do to our learners?
No, this issue of sending away students for fees is not. And you have, how have you been covering the syllabus? The same way. Interest is your interaction during the lesson with the learners. So the syllabus is provided by KIC. So you'll be teaching. You'll be teaching all along. Na umekuwa unafunza, si ndio? Na umekuwa unafunza. Funza tu umekuwa unafunza. What we are saying is, now when you are going to funza, we want you to have our priorities at heart. So that we focus more on the 4 priorities. That interaction, that communication, those errors is of our concern. Kama umekuwa wamefuta fees, umebaki na waine na unafundisha, we focus at those 4. Sawa? Because we cannot interfere with the other school program. Umesikia tukisema? Umesikia hiyo? Wewe your 40 minutes lesson, hiyo tu ndio sisi tumesema ukienda kufundisha we wish that you approach it this way and look at it this way. As you do it, be keen on the following. Then when you have taught, you will meet now as a team. Si mtakuwa mnafunza same topic. Sasa mkikutana, mimi mean, the assumed mean method or whatever using the formula. I saw the challenges here. We pia nasema umenipata vizuri? Yes. Yes. Then now you can even record that discussion of you, the way you are discussing. Huyu akisema mimi nilifunza na nikaona shida in this topic, nimeona shida hapa, ndio wanafunzi wana shida. They were making this type of errors. Huyu pia anasema mimi si hiyo haikuwa sana, lakini mimi nilikuwa, we want that conversation. That conversation as now the teachers, the 4, 5, 6 of you. So you record. Then you now, in the conclusion, using that format, muna conclude na tufanye na muna gani. Nyinyi wenyewe mko mnapata solution. Then when you now go back to class, so mumeongea kama walimu wa hiyo subject wa hiyo shule. Then you go to class, you have agreed. Let us do it this way. You would have documented in our meeting log. Then you go and see it, implement it. Let me be, the way the officers have been saying, be very patient. They were calling them slow learners, but these days we don't say slow learners. Wanawaita nini? Time? This is the paradigm shift in teacher education. The paradigm shift in the mathematics instructional processes. This is the paradigm shift that we want to bring about in you as the teacher and in the learner. Makofi kwangu. Neck. Unajua neck ni shingo. Kusema neck ni neck ndio. Najua inashika wapi kabisa. Swali lilikuwa kweli. Mbeba anatia. Swali lilikuwa kweli ngapi? Unauliza kati yetu na KICD iko tafashi. Hawa wanasema there is significant difference, hawa wanasema your question in fact. Ulipata tu? And neck. Neck, an example.
In neck, we don't allow the chemistry. Now, when you start when it's coming to KCD, when you are teaching, it's now being applied. Given significant difference. But now the net decimal can be able to give us in a given significant difference without putting maybe in an instruction code. But you see, when you go now to the KCD, it's not there. When you go to the left, it's not there. For example, you're teaching us about forgotten questions, whereby the value of x has been given, like when we talk about even limit, where x is equal to 70 degrees, or maybe 90, or maybe 180. When you check at the KCD, think about when you give this in commas, the accuracy is not there. So if there is massive no combination between that neck and there's not state of neck examiner.
Because for neck, went by the marking scheme, you get that most of the time, all the people who deal with them, they normally they believe that if neck is the final, that when we come to moderation, the same thing happens, and even when it comes to now the issue who are in charge, because even you get that I cannot bank a candidate script and examiner to come and bank it, because that is the regulation. So I believe that what should then you get that sometimes we normally have even those who are examiners, we have some suggestion books at the matching centers. Because those are the places where we should be also be giving our suggestion so that we also have what we call the chief examiner's report. And the way sometimes if you then we don't want to change. So any new plan. So if somebody tells, let's no, things have changed, we will just tell you. Also, it looks like it's something which we believe that coordination has been done. It should be marked. Then I think I just want to comment on things done by NEC. The CBC, for NEC, the assessment we are offering at the CBC level. Because of the CBC, we have 3 years at lower primary level, the assessment. Then we upload it in our next CBA. Load, after downloading, they'll administer to the learners. Then they'll score. After scoring, they are just uploading the marks to them. Also developed, and we have been now also developing, and also we have been the guidelines on how to score. So we have sent some people sampled for them to go and monitor what is going on. So we're supposed to be at the school-based level, grade 6. We normally combine the format to results which are the scores which are not to results which are the scores which are not credible. But already they have been shared with the schools, and I believe those who are parents. Already they have been shared with the schools, and I believe those who are parents. So we are appealing to you that you are older, maintain the credibility of the.
We are going to be part and parcel of the assessment process in Kenya. But Kenya is
people shifted and accepted.
So we are using slide rules.
Yes.
In mathematics.
And then there came a time it was like a calculator developing certain competencies. So any tools that the learner can use to develop those competencies is acceptable in Japan. But here in Kenya, we were told grade 4 is too high. Let it. Education is life itself. If this learner, when they go home, they are using smartphones at home. There is to Singapore. There is nobody to serve you at the airport. You have to serve your Kenya. Each one pulls up a laptop and they can get the map of. Because in life, there is no way we shall avoid them. That is the competence we are calling digital literacy under CBC.
If you can't change, change will change you. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Enjoy.
Just a minute, just a minute.
Just a minute.
We are going the same way we went. After the meal, is transport home. But we will only get it if your name is where? In the list. So, as you go, ensure your name is your rate is written, but ensure that it's there.
Please, those who have not signed,
if you
have attended this,
if you didn't sign, it means
kindly sign.
It means you sneaked in.
Okay?
So I'm here. As you pass out, ensure your name is there. If it's not there, you can press straight away. After